Welcome. Let's light the flame of wisdom today. What if I told you that turning 70 is the most freeing moment of your life? A time when you can finally let go of everything that doesn't bring you joy, forever. It's a threshold where the weight of expectations, the pressure to conform, and the need for approval simply fall away. At 70, life offers a unique opportunity to refocus, to cherish what truly matters, and to leave behind the unnecessary. It's not an end, it's a beginning of something more meaningful, more personal, more real. Think about it. How much of your life has been spent worrying about things that, in the grand scheme of it all, don't matter? How much energy have you given to others' opinions, material possessions, or obligations that didn't bring you joy? Turning 70 is a gift, a chance to rewrite the rules and live with a sense of clarity that only comes from years of experience. It's a time to take stock of what no longer serves you and to embrace the peace that comes with letting go. If this is your first time here, welcome to Flame of Wisdom, illuminating life's lessons. This is a place where we explore meaningful stories, share practical insights, and learn together. If you find value in what we're discussing, I'd love for you to join our growing community. Take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'll explore 9 things that become meaningless after 70. These are the things that often hold us back, weigh us down, and distract us from what's truly important. By letting go of them, you can open up your life to more peace, more joy, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Whether it's the opinions of others, the need for material possessions, or toxic relationships, each point we'll discuss is a step toward living a life that is lighter, freer, and more intentional. Now, let me tell you how we'll approach this. We'll break it all down step by step, covering 9 key areas of life that often lose their meaning after 70. For each one, we'll discuss why it no longer matters and how letting go can transform your perspective. By the end of this, you'll have a roadmap to a more fulfilling way of living, one that prioritizes your happiness, well-being, and peace of mind above all else. And here's what makes this conversation even more valuable: we're going to keep it real. This isn't about abstract concepts or unreachable goals. It's about practical, actionable insights that you can take into your life right now. No matter where you are in your journey, there's something here for you. So, if you've ever felt the weight of others' expectations, if you've ever looked around and wondered why certain things still matter to you, or if you've ever wanted to feel a greater sense of freedom in your life, you're in the right place. And here's the best part: you don't have to wait. The moment you decide to let go of what no longer serves you, you've already begun to live more fully. Stick with me until the end, because I promise you, the final point we'll discuss might just be the most liberating of them all. Before we dive into these 9 things, let me ask you this: have you ever felt like you were carrying too much? Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. Think about the things that have taken up space in your life. Are they adding to your happiness or taking from it? It's a question worth asking because, at 70, you've earned the right to live on your own terms. You've spent decades in navigating the complexities of life, and now it's time to simplify, to streamline, and to focus on what truly matters. Throughout this discussion, I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Which of these points resonate with you? What are the things you're ready to let go of? The comment section is there for you to share your thoughts, and I genuinely want to hear them. Your story might just inspire someone else who's watching. So, what can you expect from this conversation? First, we'll talk about worrying about the opinions of others. It's something that shapes so much of our lives, but at 70, it starts to lose its grip. Then, we'll move on to material possessions, the things we've spent years accumulating that may no longer serve us. After that, we'll discuss social obligations, those events and gatherings that no longer bring us joy. And that's just the beginning. We'll also cover society's standards of beauty, outdated routines, and even toxic relationships. Each of these is an area where letting go can bring a sense of freedom you may not have thought possible. Toward the end, we'll touch on the comparison game, something that steals joy from so many of us, and the idea of clinging to goals that no longer align with who we are. Finally, we'll talk about prioritizing your own happiness without guilt, a topic that ties everything together. Every point we'll discuss today is interconnected, but each one stands on its own as a powerful reminder of what really matters in life. By the time we're done, I hope you'll feel inspired to let go of what doesn't matter and to embrace what does. This isn't about giving up, it's about gaining something far more valuable: peace, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. So, let's begin. Let's take a closer look at what it means to truly live freely after 70. From worrying about others' opinions to holding on to outdated goals, we're going to explore it all. And as we move through these points, keep in mind that this is your journey. You get to decide what stays and what goes. You have the power to shape your life in a way that brings you joy and fulfillment. Now, here's something to think about as we move forward. What would it feel like to wake up each day without the weight of unnecessary concerns? What would it mean to live without the burden of expectations that no longer matter? These are the questions we'll answer together. So stay with me, because the insights we're about to share could be the key to unlocking a life that feels lighter, freer, and more aligned with who you truly are. Let's continue and uncover the 9 things that no longer need to hold space in your life. This is the beginning of something beautiful, and I'm glad you're here to take this step with me. Remember, every moment spent reflecting on what matters is a step toward living more fully. So let's get started. Let's start with something most of us are guilty of at some point in our lives: worrying about the opinions of others. How many decisions have you made based on what someone else might think? Maybe it was the clothes you wore, the hobbies you pursued, or even the life partner you chose. These opinions have a way of sneaking into our minds, shaping our choices, and even dictating our happiness. But here's the truth: at 70, those opinions lose their power. They no longer matter as much as they once did. Think about Martha, who spent decades worrying about what her neighbors might say if her garden didn't look perfect. She'd plant flowers she didn't even like, just to fit in with what everyone else considered beautiful. But one day, she decided enough was enough. She ripped out the perfectly curated rows of roses and planted a wildflower garden, something she'd always dreamed of. Her neighbors talked, of course. But soon, they stopped. Today, Martha's garden is not only her sanctuary but has inspired others to embrace their own unique preferences. Why does this matter? Because it's a reminder that you don't need to live by anyone else's standards. By 70, you've seen enough of life to know that other people's opinions are fleeting. They come and go, often influenced by their own insecurities and fears. Holding on to them only keeps you from being your authentic self. So, here's a question: what's one thing you've done differently after 70 that you never would have done before? Share it in the comment section. Your story might just inspire someone else to break free from societal expectations. Next, let's talk about something we all accumulate over time: material possessions. We spend decades collecting things, believing they'll bring us happiness or security. We buy bigger houses, fill them with furniture, and store away items we rarely use. But by the time we reach 70, it becomes clear that these things often weigh us down more than they lift us up. Happiness isn't found in a house full of possessions, it's found in the space we create for meaningful experiences. Take Laura, for instance. She had a home filled with memories, furniture handed down from her parents, boxes of old photographs, and gadgets she hadn't touched in years. When she turned 72, she decided it was time to simplify. Laura spent weeks sorting through her belongings, keeping only what truly added value to her life. The rest, she donated or passed on to loved ones who could use them. She described the process as liberating. Now, her home feels peaceful, not cluttered, and she's free to focus on the things she loves. If you've ever thought about decluttering, start small. Pick one area of your home and ask yourself, does this bring me joy? Does it serve a purpose? If the answer is no, let it go. The act of clearing physical space often clears mental space as well. So here's something to think about. What's one item you've been holding onto that no longer serves you? Share it in the comments section. It could inspire someone else to start their own journey toward simplicity. Now, let's move on to social obligations. These are the events, gatherings, and commitments that often feel more like chores than sources of joy. In our younger years, we often say yes to these obligations out of politeness or a sense of duty. But after 70, it's time to recognize that life is too precious to spend it doing things that don't bring you happiness. Think about James. He was the type of person who never said no to an invitation. Birthdays, weddings, even casual dinners with acquaintances, he attended them all, even when he didn't feel like it. But at 75, James realized he didn't need to keep up appearances. He started saying no to events that drained his energy and yes to the ones that truly mattered to him. Now, he spends more time with his closest friends and family, and he's never been happier. Reflect on your own week. Was there an event you attended purely out of obligation? How would it feel to say no next time? The freedom to choose your social interactions is one of the greatest gifts of growing older. And remember, it's not about isolating yourself, it's about being intentional with your time and energy. Another thing that becomes meaningless after 70 is chasing society's standards of beauty. For so much of our lives, we're bombarded with messages about how we should look: smooth skin, toned bodies, no signs of aging. But after 70, it's time to embrace the beauty that comes from a life well lived. Your wrinkles, gray hairs, and other signs of aging aren't flaws. They're proof of your resilience and the experiences that have shaped you. Look at Eleanor. She used to spend hours trying to hide her gray hair and wrinkles. She'd buy expensive creams, dye her hair, and avoid being photographed. But one day, she decided to stop. She let her hair grow out naturally, stopped worrying about makeup, and embraced her authentic self. Today, Eleanor says she's never felt more beautiful. Her confidence radiates, and people are drawn to her because of her warmth and authenticity. So here's a question for you. What's one thing you've embraced about yourself as you've aged? Share it in the comments section. Your story could encourage someone else to see their own beauty in a new light. Now, let's talk about outdated activities. These are the routines, hobbies, or commitments we hold on to out of habit, even when they no longer bring us joy. It's natural to outgrow certain activities as we age. The key is to recognize when it's time to let go and make space for something new. Take John, for example. For years, he played cards every week with the same group of friends. It was fun in the beginning, but over time, it became more of a chore. John found himself dreading those evenings, but he kept going because he didn't want to let his friends down. At 74, he finally decided to stop. Instead, he started gardening, something he'd always been curious about but never had time for. Today, John has a thriving vegetable garden and says it's one of the most fulfilling things he's ever done. Think about your own life. Are there activities you're holding on to out of habit rather than joy? What's something new you've always wanted to try? Share it in the comments section. You never know, your story might inspire someone else to take a similar step. Toxic relationships are another thing to let go of after 70. Whether it's a friend who constantly criticizes you, a family member who brings negativity into your life, or an acquaintance who drains your energy, these relationships do more harm than good. Walking away from them isn't selfish, it's self-care. Take Samantha. She had a longtime friend who always found a way to belittle her achievements. After years of putting up with it, Samantha decided she'd had enough. She distanced herself from that friend and focused on building relationships with people who uplifted and supported her. Samantha says it's one of the best decisions she's ever made. Have you ever walked away from a toxic relationship? How did it feel? Share your experience in the comments section. It might just encourage someone else to take the same step toward a healthier, happier life. Another thing to let go of is comparing yourself to others. This is something we all do, often without realizing it. We look at our neighbors, friends, or even strangers and measure our lives against theirs. But comparison only steals joy. At 70, it's time to celebrate your own journey and recognize that your life is uniquely yours. Think about it. No one else has lived your life, faced your challenges, or experienced your triumphs. So why compare? Instead, focus on gratitude for the life you've built. What's one thing you're proud of? Share it in the comments section. Celebrating your own accomplishments can be a powerful reminder of how far you've come. Finally, let's talk about outdated goals. These are the ambitions we set for ourselves years ago that no longer align with who we are today. It's okay to let them go. In fact, doing so can make room for goals that better reflect your current values and priorities. Take Karen, for instance. In her 50s, she dreamed of climbing the corporate ladder and achieving financial success. But by the time she reached 70, her priorities had shifted. Karen let go of those old goals and focused on spending time with her grandchildren, traveling, and pursuing her passion for photography. Today, she says she's never been happier. What's a goal you're letting go of? And what's one you're embracing now? Share it in the comments section. It's never too late to redefine your purpose and live in alignment with what truly matters to you. These are just a few examples of the things that no longer hold meaning after 70. By letting go of them, you make room for a life that is lighter, freer, and more focused on what truly matters. So, what's one thing you're ready to let go of today? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Your story could inspire someone else to take a step toward a more fulfilling life. Let's take a moment to reflect on the 9 key points we've discussed. Each one represents a step toward freedom, peace, and a life focused on what truly matters. First, we talked about worrying about the opinions of others. Letting go of this burden gives you the space to live authentically, without the constraints of societal expectations. Then we moved on to material possessions, understanding how freeing it can be to let go of the things that no longer serve a purpose, making room for experiences and memories instead. Next, we explored the importance of releasing social obligations that drain you. Life is too precious to spend on events or interactions that don't bring you joy. Choosing how you spend your time allows you to prioritize what truly fulfills you. We also discussed society's standards of beauty and the liberation that comes with embracing yourself as you are. Each wrinkle and gray hair tells a story of resilience and wisdom. They're symbols of a life well lived. Then, we talked about holding on to outdated activities. As we age, it's natural to outgrow certain hobbies and routines. By letting go, you make room for new passions that align with who you are today. This leads us to the topic of toxic relationships. Walking away from negativity isn't selfish, it's an act of self-care that creates space for healthier, more uplifting connections. We also discussed the importance of stopping comparisons. Your journey is uniquely yours, and focusing on gratitude for your own experiences brings a sense of peace and fulfillment. Then, we touched on clinging to outdated goals. Redefining your priorities and letting go of ambitions that no longer serve you allows you to focus on what matters most now. Finally, we addressed the idea of feeling guilty for prioritizing your happiness. Letting go of that guilt opens the door to living with greater joy and purpose. These 9 points are interconnected, each contributing to a lighter, freer way of living. They're not about giving up, they're about gaining something far more valuable: clarity, peace, and the ability to focus on what truly matters. By embracing these changes, you're choosing to live more intentionally, with your happiness and well-being at the center. This is your time. Your time to live with joy, authenticity, and peace. Your time to let go of what doesn't serve you and make room for what truly matters. Think of it as a renewal, a chance to embrace who you are and the life you want to lead. You've spent decades in navigating the complexities of life, and now, you've earned the right to live on your own terms. There's a sense of power and freedom that comes with this stage of life. It's a time to honor yourself and the journey you've taken to get here. As we close, I want to leave you with this thought: every moment you spend letting go of what weighs you down is a step toward a life that feels lighter and more fulfilling. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Each small change you make adds up, creating a life that's more aligned with your values and priorities. You deserve to wake up each day feeling a sense of peace, knowing you're living a life that's true to who you are. Now, let's keep the conversation going. Which of these points spoke to you the most? Was it letting go of others' opinions, or maybe stepping away from toxic relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Your insights might just inspire someone else to take their own step toward freedom and joy. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring content. This channel is all about living fully, authentically, and with purpose, and we're so glad you're here to be a part of it. And if you're ready for the next chapter in this conversation, stay tuned. Next time, we'll talk about how to create meaningful connections after 70. You won't want to miss it. Thank you for spending this time with me. Your journey is yours to shape, and I'm honored to be part of it. Here's to letting go of what no longer matters and embracing the freedom to live life your way. Until next time, take care and live well. May your wisdom grow brighter with every step. Thank you for joining us on Flame of Wisdom.